Everyone's talking about AI, but most are not really, they're just talking about it. They're not really applying anything to it. At most, they dabble into ChatGPT or DeepSeek. But today I want to talk about 3 main points about what you can actually do with AI. Some of the main things that I used it for. It's some amazing stuff. I think people are sleeping on it. But first, before we get kicked off, I just want to say thank you to everyone. My last video with the XRP price predictions popped off. That video, I didn't really mean to make any sort of price predictions. It's more about mindset. And so we'll swing back to that one and I'll make a different video because I did get a lot of feedback about it being too noisy. So I wanted to fix that, and then we'll do another spin off of it and see how that does. So that way you guys can get some great content on that. But back to AI, what I was saying, a lot of people are just talking about it, right? And then they're not really applying it. One of the things that, and this is the first thing that I want to talk about, is AI feels like Bitcoin in 2013. Back then, people just laughed at it. People were just making fun of Bitcoin at $100. I still remember when I think I was at a day club with a couple of my buddies, and then we're inside the hotel, and then they were talking about Bitcoin being $100. It's something that I should get into. I just shrugged it off, right? It's exactly what AI is today and right now. People are just talking about it. You hear a little bit about it, the noise, not really the noise, but you just hear about it. But those early adopters and then those who are actually learning how to use it and actually apply it to it now are gonna be the winners, right? If you wanna be an early adopter and then be able to ride that wave and understand the technology at a really good understanding of it, or at least just to graze it, right? And not just talk about it and then not be really invested into it. That's exactly what it feels like today, and then that's the simplest comparison that I can put it to, because I missed out on that Bitcoin run. I got into it a little bit after, but it's just like the barrier to entry was a lot harder for Bitcoin, because just to be able to get in to buy it, whether you're mining it, back then there was a lot of mining, and then you had to, or you get onto these sketchy websites that do the mining for you, but the website ends up getting crashed, or you end up losing everything if you don't look at it. So today people say AI is cool, but they really don't know how to use it. Myself included, right? Until I actually started applying some more and then started doing some more research into it. And then the earlier adopters, they just didn't buy it for Bitcoin. I'm going back to Bitcoin. They didn't buy it, they used it. They tested around it. So the only difference between AI and Bitcoin is that you don't need to invest thousands of dollars into AI as what you did before in Bitcoin. You just need to open up your laptop and start using it. It's all available there. We have so much tool sets that we can use now. So there's just an insane amount of technology that we can actually start exploring and then using more of. So one thing is ChatGPT. Of course, that's OpenAI. It's the first thing that you can use. You can use DeepSeek, you can use Perplexity, you can use Grok. All of these are different. They all have different use cases, but just start going in there and start learning about prompt engineering. Trust me, it'll get you a long ways. So the second point, so that was the first point, right? Just why AI feels like Bitcoin in 2013 versus today. Talking point number 2 that I want to put out there is some really good use cases right now for AI. So one of the things I'm doing is this YouTube content. I'm using it to automate everything. I'm using it to automate the video editing using CapCut. Also getting up some of the points that I want to talk about. It scours the web. It gives you great feedback on what people are looking for. And then it targets the focus on the demographic that you're looking for. So it helps me structure that up, and then I can just deliver, right, based on my experience on it. But at least it gives me the ideation and it gives me ideas. I don't script everything out. I just put bullet points so that way I can talk about it. It gives me a good, clear picture. I don't like to read script by script because that's just not me. It'll give you great title optimization for YouTube content, and then also and I talked about this in my past video about how to use ChatGPT. If you want to watch that, I'll kind of put it up here, about how to use it to schedule your content. and then also maximize the optimization. So that way, when you're working, you're 9 to 5, and then if you have other businesses on the side, or even if you have your full-time job as an entrepreneur, you're just losing time. You're stacked on time, so you can actually get that time back. And if you want to do YouTube on the side as well too, this makes it so much faster. So instead of spending hours, 6 hours doing scripting and then the content, thumbnails, and then also doing the video editing just for one video that's 8 minutes long, just cuts it. You only need 30 minutes max. That's for one video, depending on how you want to go about it. But as soon as you get better at it, repetition, and then prompt engineering is a thing. So once you get the prompt and then the responses that you're looking for, what helps is going back and saying, hey, now that you know what I want, or now that you have what you want within that prompt, what you can do is just go back and say, hey, can you give me an outline or a prompt sentence that will get me to the same exact result, instead of having to go back and forth and repetition on that. So that's point number 2, some real ways I'm using. I guess I was just using on a YouTube content creation, but I also use it for work. I use AI for work, Copilot. I'm in middle management, so I feel like AI is gonna wipe that out, because now I use AI to help me summarize what engineers are saying and then what's happened, and then pass it over to executive leadership. And so then I also use it to help me build out bullet points and presentations to make sure that things make sense. A simple prompt would be like, hey, can you take all of the summary, tell me what was the problem, what was the solution, what was the short-term fix, what was the long-term fix, and then bullet point those out. And then if there's anything that I need to make easier and simpler for executives to understand, then I'll list it out and say, hey, this word is too technical. Can you simplify this? So that way a CEO can understand. So then it'll go back and it'll fix everything and it'll just adjust it, make the summary perfect. I think extremely helpful in that sense. I also used it, and this was new. This is very interesting because I'm huge into fitness, right? And then I've been working out, I want to say, since I was 16 years old, all the way up until now. And I've cut weight, I've gained weight, done the bulking phases, and then as of recently, I was 194. And so I didn't even realize how big I was. I was like, geez, fat. For me, that's a huge jump. That's really uncomfortable because I felt all fluffy. And so then I went onto ChatGPT, and then I was like, hey, can you be my coach? And then I've gone through coaches before, online coaches, and then also real coaches. Not real, I'm saying they're all real, but also coaches at the present, I guess. I'll cut some of that out. And then ChatGPT was actually the best coach that I've ever had, because I lost 20 pounds within 2 weeks. It's insane. I'm still feeling really good. It's probably not recommended to do it this aggressive, but I was able to lose 20 pounds, and then now I can reverse diet and make sure that I can be at maintenance and then continue my cut down to another 30 pounds. So that way, because that's where my weight usually is, that's where I'm at when I'm shredded. And so I'm gonna continue that and then see where it's gonna progress. And then you guys wanna see that, just let me know, comment below. I'll show you the prompt that I use. I use it daily to track my macros. It's all in one chat. And then I just let him know, or I say him, but it's like, I let GPT coach know what I'm feeling and then how I'm doing certain things, and then I just have it track my macros, and it gives me some solid feedback. At first it was a little fluffy, and then I was like, I need you to be real, because so that way I won't fall off the wagon. That's a great way that I used it for. And I think that was by far the most effective, aside from the day-to-day type of work and then productivity. I actually used it for not only my mental state, but also to lose weight physically. So it helped a lot. Which goes to point 3 now, the mindset shift from talking about these tool sets and then just hearing about it to actually taking action. I think that's where you're gonna be on your own, but there's a lot of different sites, and you can go on Google. They have so much prompts, but at the end of the day, try and make up your own prompts. Make sure that you can get what you're needing out of this, because that's what AI is. It learns how you operate, and it can be very personalized. And so the more that you use it, the more that it can actually get more memory and then it can actually adapt to your style. And then it's just crazy how responsive it is, and then it's kind of like just another me. And then it's very effective to that point. So don't ask it, you can ask it to write poems, you can ask it to do whatever, and it will give you that, and then it'll say, or even write a book, you can write a whole book. But that's just dabbling into it. Make sure that what you're using it for, it's gonna be productive, so that way it saves your time. I think that's one of the best things of it. It saved me time from doing content creation, my business plan, and then also scouring content and information to make sure that what I'm doing is even right. Does it even make sense? Should I put my focus here? And then it'll free up your time in general, and you can go use it to spend on other things that you want to, whether it be spending time with your kids. And then, so those are the 3 things that I wanted to get out there and just start using it. Go download ChatGPT. I use the paid version, but I think it's really worth it because it's got a lot of different attachments and apps to it. So you can use Canva on it too, and then you can just make a ton of different photos and pictures. So just the scalability of it, it's amazing. It's insane. So again, I just want to wrap up and then talk about those 3 points that I want to lay out there. So the point number 1 was why AI today feels like Bitcoin in 2013. Point 2 is 3 ways I'm using AI right now. And then the 3rd point is the mindset shift. That's the most important one, it's more about the mindset shift, and make sure that you guys actually use it for your use cases, and then start dabbling into it. That's the start. The 2nd phase is actually applying it and actioning it. And then you're gonna have to use it every single day, and I can almost promise you that it'll be effective, right? Because right now, I think a lot of people are using it the wrong way. But why do you think the big tech companies are laying off a ton of people? I'm sure that they're just with the economy and everything, right, too. But with AI adoption, people aren't accounting into that. Even in my current role, I can be wiped out tomorrow. Budget tightening is happening, it's real. And then using innovation with AI is more important than anything. And then I think at the end of the day, once we start doing that, and if you're not a part of the adoption and you're not using AI, then you're gonna be missing out a ton, or you're just gonna be fired or laid off, I'm sorry, not fired, because you're a part of the masses. When you get laid off or fired, what are you gonna do? For me, I'm gonna be using AI to move myself forward and then automate a ton of stuff. That's what innovation's about. All right, guys, well, thank you. And thanks again for all the feedback that you guys had on my last video that popped off, the price prediction of HRP. I hope you liked this video. And then if you have any questions and want to know more about what I think about AI or just some more different information about all the other possibilities around it, comment below. And thank you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Later.